This is the Real Love Talk podcast, where we show you how God's love and self-love can help you get to your desired destination. If a God-designed marriage is your goal, then you're in the right place. Here's your host, Shenique Luke.
Hello, and welcome to the Real Love Talk podcast. I am your host, Shenique Luke, and we're back for season 2. Isn't this exciting? All right, so today we're just going to do a small little recap. For those of you who may not know who I am, I just want to introduce myself. And for those of you who do know who I am, hey, I'm back. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere, okay? So I want to introduce myself. I am a love prep coach, and I am honestly just here to support those of you women, my favorite, those of you who desire a long-term committed relationship, aka a marriage. I think it's really important to just be able to just talk through some things, to be able to have someone to support you, to have someone who's going through or who has gone through what you may be experiencing and how to get you to a place where you're getting the things that you desire out of life. All right, so let's get back to it. I'm a love preparation coach. I got that title because at one point I desired marriage. And when I went through my struggle and my journey, I realized that I was doing a lot of things wrong. You see, when you have your career on point, when you have an education, when you're, now we're not going to talk about weight, but when you find and you in the gym and you got your life together, but your relationship is out of order, sometimes it's easy to point the finger at the other person, at the man, at the guy you're in a situationship with, or the guy that may not want to give you the commitment you desire. But sometimes it's us. Dare I say it, sometimes we're the problem. So I'm here to help you get out of your own way and get the desired results that you want. All right. So I do have the title as a love preparation coach, but I'm just your friend. I'm your girlfriend, and this is Girlfriends Talk. On the Real Love Talk podcast, we have a couple of things that we do. We sit down with wives who are in the position that you want to get in eventually. And I want to also set the tone that there's no difference between who you are and who she is. There's no difference between a single woman and a married woman. Okay. We are all wives. God has ordained us outside of the people who has been called to be single. He has designed us all to be wives. I think it's natural for all of us to be nurturers and caregivers, whether it is a husband or a child or a friend. But what I want to focus on is getting you to a place where you want to be. So we talk to wives because they are in the position of where you want to be. You want to be married. You want to be a mother. We're also going to be talking to single women. We want you to have a voice here so that you can tell us, what do you need help with? What are you struggling with? And then we have the person that you want to get in their mind. You want to know what they're thinking, the man. So I want to introduce 3 separate series to you. So we have Wifey Wisdom, we have Finna Be a Wife, and we have Mind of a Man. So we have different people that are going to be able to pour into ultimately your desired destination. And I think it's really important because it's not just one perspective that helps you get to a certain place. There are different people that contribute to where you want to be overall. So I think it's going to be really fun to get into the mind of all of those different people. So I want to tell you a little bit more about what we do here at the Real Love Talk podcast. So this season, we're going to be incorporating a couple of different series. The first series is Wifey Wisdom. So we want to talk to the people who are in the position of where you want to be. What's your goal destination? You want to be married? You want to be in a committed relationship? We're going to bring those women in to talk about their struggles, their successes, and just ultimately the journey on how they got to marriage. It could be a year, it can be 6 months, it can be 12 years or 24 years. I think it's really important to ultimately incorporate those people who are where you want to be. Secondly, we're going to be talking to single women. Yes, this season we are bringing in the women as your voice, the single women who represent you, your thoughts, your struggles, and just how can we fix what you're dealing with? How can we move through your current journey? And then ultimately, the person that we all love and we all are trying to get to, the man, we are getting into the mind of a man. What are his thoughts? What is he thinking as he moves through a relationship? What are his desires? I mean, the truth is, I always hate the slogan or phrase, a happy wife is a happy life, because a marriage is not just about one person. There are two parties. So I think the correct phrase, or the one I prefer, is a happy spouse is a happy house, because the truth is, it's not just about the wife. I know, don't kill me. I am a girl's girl and I want you to be a happy wife. And that's why we're all here. So ultimately, we want to get into their mind and understand their thoughts, as well as understanding our own. So it's we're working together here. And so we're bringing in all of these individuals because I think they're all important to ultimately where we want to be and the destination that we're trying to get to. Now that you know a little bit more about the Real Love Talk podcast, I want to get into how you may be moving through this current situation. I like to always set the tone that being single is not a punishment. It's not something that God is doing to you. It's only temporary and it is a season. So as we move through our single season, we are here to support you. But ultimately, I want to talk about what you may be experiencing and why we may be struggling through our single season. Like myself, a lot of you may be older. I know when you hit 30, it's like, when are you getting married? When are you having kids? When is this going to happen? What's taking so long? What's wrong with you? That was probably the hardest thing for me to hear from people who claim that they love me, whether it be friends or family. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm trying. I graduated. I'm working. I'm paying my bills. I'm doing everything to be successful. It's just this one part of my life that's just not coming together. I can't find him. I can't get to this aisle. I can't get to this baby that you guys keep asking me about. So, what are you dealing with? Why are you struggling with this particular area? So in our time together, we're going to be talking about self-love, or the lack of self-love. We're going to be talking about boundaries. How do you establish healthy boundaries in order to get what you want and not be deemed the B word? Yes, because we know that the first time you tell someone no, you are deemed a B. And so we don't want that to happen as well. So we want you to be able to establish healthy boundaries so that you can have what you want. So here at the Real Love Talk podcast, I want to set the tone that God is the foundation and the center of everything that we do. We want to understand that God has specifically called you to live a life that is designed for you. And that includes your marriage, your relationship, the person that you're going to be with for the rest of your life. We don't want to make idols or worship celebrities or even other people in our lives as couple goals. We want to become our own couple goals. The biggest thing that I learned as a married woman is you have to make your own rules for your relationship. Yes, we can look at mom and dad and uncle and auntie and even some celebrities and say, okay, I desire that thing, but you never know what's going on in a person's home, in the private, like my pastor says in the booth in the back. You never know what's really going on in a person's life. So you always want to just strive to be your true, authentic self and true in your relationship. So one of the things that we first want to always put first is God. Putting him first sets the tone for everything that you desire. Because even in those times of frustration when we feel like things aren't happening in our time, they're not happening the way that they're supposed to, we want to always rely and trust in God because we know that his timing and his way is perfect. I'm sure you can look back on a time where you thought it took too long or maybe not long enough, when you thought things were completely messed up or they were going right. And you look back now and you understand that that happened exactly the way that it was supposed to. So right now you may be feeling like, when am I going to find that person? When am I going to get married? When is it going to happen for me? I know for my personal experience, whenever someone in my life would get married, or even someone who I didn't know would get married, my first thought was, when is it going to be my turn? Why does it seem like it's happening for everyone else but me? So I want to tell you today that your time is coming. One of the things that I learned is celebrating those who are experiencing what you want is the first step to get you closer to where God is leading you. Secondly, actually it should be first, but trust his timing. Trust his timing and then celebrate those. Because when you clap for the people around you, in my head, I'm like, I have to be up next. It has to be my turn next because I'm so positive and I trust God so much. I know he wants the best for me. I know he has a good plan for me, that no matter what's going on in my life, I'm completely focused on him and his plan. So our time together, I want you to focus on God. Secondly, I want you to become so aware of who you are. What are your likes? What are your quirks? What do you hate? I want you to be able to get to a place to where you are able to express that to the next man that pursues you. Just because someone comes up to you or asks you for your number, you don't have to plan the wedding, because I know that you are, because I planned several. I planned several weddings in my head just from a from a number exchange. So I want you to know that everyone doesn't qualify to be with you. Understand that you deserve the best. I don't care what you've been through. I don't care what heartbreak you've experienced. You deserve the best. What you're asking for is not too much. So become so self-aware of who you are and who God designed you to be, that you're okay expressing that to someone else. And I also want to say this. If you're emotional, if you're sensitive, if you express yourself a different way than others, that's okay as well. There's going to be someone that's going to love you no matter how you are designed. For me, I am emotional, and for a long time I had a hard time managing my emotions. And I remember there was a specific time where I had a conversation with God, like, God, can you change me? Can you help me be more lovable? Can you help me be easier to deal with? And it wasn't the flaws that I was even referring to. It was just the way that I was genuinely built. And I felt like God said, girl, this is how I created you. There's going to be someone who is going to love you exactly the way that you were created. And so, yes, we work through our flaws, we work through our struggles, but understand that you were designed a certain way. And I want to reassure you today that there is someone who is going to love you exactly the way that you were created. So I don't want you to get any ideas from what society says, from what the internet says, from what anything that you've heard, that you're too much. Okay? There's going to be a man that is going to be strong enough, that is going to be loving and graceful enough to care just for you. All right. So we want to just be able to hone in and accept who we are designed to be. All right. We address our issues. We talk to therapists. We talk to our pastors, and, even those older loved ones that are in our lives, in order to just become better people, of course, but understanding that we don't have to change who we are in order to have the love that we desire. The next thing that we're going to address on the Real Love Talk podcast is a lot of times when we go through life, we experience heartache, we experience disappointments in our relationships. It leads to a lot of wrong thinking and wrong beliefs. Okay, first of all, if you don't have God involved, your beliefs are it's warped, and it's based on what the world and what society says. So once you get God at the center, then you begin to see, okay, God will say, you know what, Shenique, work on this area. Okay, you're okay here, but let's adjust this thing. So then you begin to shift. Okay, so maybe you're not as selfish, or maybe you're not as controlling, because now you rely on God for this in this particular area. So you're less controlling. So now when you interact with someone, even if it's a platonic relationship, you're less controlling and easier to deal with, just as an example, right? So now your beliefs begin to shift. You don't think everyone is out to get you, or you don't think everyone is trying to hurt you. So you see how the level of hierarchy, what we're trying to help you develop here, it begins to shift everything in your life. So now when the next guy comes into the picture, you're checking it off. What does God say? Okay, is this what I want? Okay, how am I going to address the way that my belief system is? All right, so we want to get rid of, and I'll be honest, guys, it could even be something that your mom or your grandmother or your aunt may have taught you. And yes, we respect those individuals, but a lot of their thinking and habits were rooted in survival mode just because of our history as Black people, right? So we want to begin to shift how we see life, how we see relationships. What does a healthy relationship look like? We were just having a conversation. Do you have an example? Is there someone that you can look to? So we want to be able to, and honestly, even if we don't have those representatives in our life, I promise developing and establishing a relationship with God and Christ will allow you to shift, and God will show you exactly what a healthy relationship looks like. He will bring that couple into your life, and boom, now you have an example. So that's why it's so important to keep him at the forefront, because he will shift everything in your life. All right. So now we got God at the front. We begin to become more self-aware about who we are. Now our habits are changing. Our thinking is changing, and we're showing up as a different person when we interact with our loved ones. So the next thing, boundaries. I truly believe that the biggest issue, especially if you're stuck in a situationship where you're not getting the commitment that you want, which a lot of us as older women deal with, the biggest thing is establishing boundaries. I'll tell you this, you either don't have any or you have too many. So what we want to allow you to do, or help you and support you in doing, is becoming balanced with those boundaries. All right. So I know I said a lot. I want you to understand that we are here to help you prepare and position yourself for your God-designed marriage. Where is God calling you to be? What relationship is God calling you to? There is a man that is out there praying for you the same way that you are praying for him. So I want you to shift your mind, instead of thinking that you're forcing a relationship onto someone, that someone is waiting for you and praying for you the same way that you are waiting and praying for your husband. So it is really important for me. I struggled with this for so long, and I want to help you get to where you want to be. I want you to understand that you can have the love that you're praying for. You can have the life that you're praying for. You can have the family that you're praying for. You're not too old. You're not too hurt. It's not because of your past. you can start over. You can start over and have the life that you've been praying for in 6 months, in a year. God is not a respecter of persons. Anyone can get it. Anyone can get the blessings. Anyone can get the favor. All you have to do is get him involved. So the first thing I want to do is really encourage you to have a relationship with Christ. Are you in a Bible-based church? Do you know him? I mean, I'm always here to pray and to talk to you. So use me as a resource. Use me as an example. For people who really know me, they saw the struggle. So this is not something that I'm just pulling out of my butt. This is not something that I'm pulling out of thin air. I want you to understand that you can have the life. Now, I don't know if you're looking at me. Maybe you're looking at someone else, but you can live the life that you want. I am living proof, and it won't be easy. It won't be something that, there won't be struggles in. It's not going to be perfect. So I don't even want to give you that impression, but I want you to know that even through your struggles and even through your imperfections, God has designed a perfect life just for you. Sometimes I remember there was this one time, and I'm actually going to wrap up, but I want to leave you with this. There was, and this is kind of the driving force for why we're here today. There was a moment where I think my daughter was about 3 weeks, like brand new baby, and my husband was still off on paternity leave, and we were just sitting in the bed, and it was just like, man, this is like, I want other women to experience this. I've been at a place where I've wanted to give up on love. I've been at a place where I thought it was never going to happen. Like, when is someone going to love me? And as I sat in the bed with my husband and my daughter, and it was just peacefully quiet, I was like, man, I want other women who have given up or who's about to give up to get this, because I know that this is the moment that they're praying for. So I'm here to support you. I want you to get to your desired destination. Understand that you can have that life, and I'm here to support you and help you get there. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm looking forward to this season. I have a lot of amazing women and men lined up to chat and give you all the resources and support that you need, and a lot of funny conversations along the way. Is going to be good. So I'm excited about our time together. So just hang in there with me. And we have a lot of exciting guests coming up. So I want you to make sure you like, comment, or subscribe. Don't be afraid to interact. This is a conversation in order to help you get to your desired destination. And also subscribe so you can get those notifications when we go live or when our videos are posted. I'm excited. This is going to be a great season. So thank you for joining me today on the Real Love Talk podcast. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Real Love Talk podcast. And make sure to follow Shenique on Instagram at SheniqueLuke_ for more advice and tips. Be sure to join us next Friday for another exciting episode.